host, and I am here with episode 105. It is Martin Luther King Day here in the United States, and it's Monday, January 22nd. Thank you for joining me here. I am, if you are new to me, I am the Hudson Valley Knits Podcast. I used to live in New York in the Hudson Valley for all my life, and I just recently, last year in November, moved here to St. Louis, and we're pretty much settled in here, and it's a pleasure to podcast to you from my home. I think it's been about 3 weeks since I last podcast, and I do have a lot to show you. I am really kind of getting into my relaxed mode now and doing a lot more knitting. Like life was very hectic last year, but I'm really kind of settling in, and it feels really good. I will chat a lot at the end about what's been going on, but I will say that I found a great knitting meetup group. I forget what they call themselves. Is that? I think I have the badge in here. Hold on. They have a Ravelry group, and that's how I found them. But the group is called the Gateway Knitters, and I am now officially a member. And I went to one of their meetups, the Knitting Guild. There's also a guild here. That meeting got canceled because we had a huge snowstorm that day, 9 inches of snow. So I've yet to check out the guild meeting, but it was really wonderful to get out and meet new knitters and make new friends. So something I definitely need to start doing. So I'll talk about how that went towards the end. I also have signed up for the Knitting Pipeline Retreat, which will be next month in February. I'm real excited about that, and I'll be driving up there together with a whole bunch of my new knitting friends from that meetup group. So, I mean, I can't be more thankful. I believe the Vogue Knitting Live in New York is going on this weekend, and that was something, I think I missed a few of them, but I used to attend regularly, which was a wonderful way to meet people as well. But I'm not going to miss the temptation for shopping, because one of my resolutions this year is to knit more from stash, which I kind of say every year and never live up to. So we'll see how that goes, right? I am going to get right into it. We'll talk more about all that stuff at the end, as well as new D-stash and a new giveaway for this episode. So I'll just explain that I used to do a giveaway for the senior level long, and I've accumulated some donations that were given to me to be prizes for that, and now that I'm not doing it anymore, I wasn't sure quite what to do with it, and what I've decided is to give something away every episode until it's all gone. And last episode, excuse me, I put these two of this exact same skein for grabs, and I am happy to say that my friend Linda has won them. All you have to do is leave a comment on the YouTube video, and I'm going to ask that you leave your Ravelry name, just in case, because the first time I did this, the person that won didn't realize I had replied to their message on YouTube. So just in case I can't get a hold of you, leave me your Ravelry name as well, just as another way to get in touch with you. And thanks again for and congratulations, Linda. I think these are great. They're really, really lovely skeins, so great for a shawl. All right, so let's get into the finished objects. I have 2 finished objects this week, or this episode. I keep saying this week, it's been 3 weeks. The first one is the Twinkling Trees socks by Dani George, who is also Little Bobbin Knits. This was my Christmas Eve cast on, and a very special one because it was my first one in my new home. I knit these up in a stellina base that Spirit Trail Fiberworks did for just a short time. She didn't carry this base for long, and I think it's a gold stellina. But it is very nicely done, and I think you can see the sparkle. And you can see in the design, I added beads to the Christmas trees at the top. She formed them by using little small cable stitches, and I just added beads to look like little ornaments on the trees. And then the bauble at the top is part of the pattern, and that's to be like a star on the top of the Christmas tree. The white is also Spirit Trail Fiberworks Sunna. The base is pretty much Sunna with a stellina. I know that Jen from Spirit Trail Fiberworks is doing a physical move, so I don't think she has much in her shop right now. She had a clearance, I think I mentioned it last time, 45% off all of her stock, and I did buy a lot of her yarn. And you'll probably see a lot of it come up in future projects. So I did wear these once. They fit perfectly. This is my favorite sock yarn, by the way. It's a very expensive yarn. I believe her Sunna is now up to $34 a skein. But I am not exaggerating when I tell you that it holds up really well, and these socks will last you a very long time. But that being said, it is very expensive. So yeah, but it is a treat to get a pair of socks knit out of this luxurious fiber. It's got cashmere, merino, and silk in it. No nylon, but the silk is what keeps the sock yarn strong. Yeah, so because of the white, I am going to, when I do wash these, I will make sure I wash them with just a teaspoon of vinegar in the water to keep from bleeding. I haven't had an experience of bleeding with her yarns before, but being that there is a white in this, I don't want to take that chance. So I will just, as an error of caution, I will use a little vinegar when I give these a bath. Just really loved it. Great pattern, Dani. Thank you for involving us all in your beautiful Christmas Eve cast on. All right. Now this is close. I wouldn't say it's I think my exploration station is still my favorite shawl, or maybe my fading point by Jorge Locatelli, but this is a favorite shawl, and oh boy, are you getting the colors very well. This is a shawl. This is the Range Shawl by Andrea Mowry. This is knit up in Lisa Susie yarn that I got at Rhinebeck, and oh my gosh, do I love it. Goes good with this sweater too. This is Lisa Souza, I think it's a BFL, and I saw her shawl knit up in these colors in the booth at Rhinebeck, and I couldn't help it. So I know Andrea is having a month-long sale on a lot of her patterns, so I highly recommend this pattern when and if she puts it on sale for the 25% off. It uses worsted weight yarn, and I have to say this is this after I wash this, it's so much softer, like really soft and comfortable. And again, this section here is the only one I didn't really care for. So she does these consistently these 3 different stitch patterns as you go into each color. And then after you do it with the last color, she goes into this marled type pattern for like a border. And I actually liked the wrong side look better than the right side. And if I had known or had seen it up close, I would have flipped it, but it's still quite beautiful. So she does like a slip stitch thing, and I don't know why my light just went out. She does kind of like a slip stitch pattern that looks where you carry the yarn in the front and the back. And I think it just looked better in the back than the front. But I'm very in love with this shawl, and I'm gonna pause it right now and figure out why my light just went out. All right, I'm back. I have a new light that I bought, and it just clamps to your table, and it just kind of went out, and the plug seemed really hot. So I let it cool down a bit, and we'll see what happens. But I am going on to whips. This is the first whip I'm going to show you, and this is the a pattern by Isabel Kraemer. It's called the Malin Sweater, and it's heavily modified. So what I did was, and I put it on because one of the reasons I like doing top down is they allow you to try them on. But as far as this is concerned, it is heavily modified in that I did my swatches, and I made 4 swatches with 4 different needle sizes, and I ended up going all the way up to a US 9 before I got gauge. And the gauge for this sweater is 18 stitches for every 4 inches, which when I knit up the swatch, and I actually have the swatches here, I felt it was just way too loose. Let me get them. Here is the US 9. And one of the things Amy Herzog talks about is the poke factor when you have a gauge swatch. And when you stretch something out, if you can see through it too much, then it's too loose a gauge, and it's gonna make your sweater less sturdy. So this is with a US 9. I'm not sure what that is in millimeters, forgive me, but I just felt it was too loose, and I wanted something that was just a little more firm, if you will, and less drapey. So I went with a US 8, which I felt had the perfect fabric. Had some drape, was a little stretchy, if you will, but didn't allow you to see my fingers through it. Here's the 6 and the 7 that I did. 7 was the suggested needle size, and it was way too tight. So I did go with the 8. However, with this was 19 stitches for every 4 inches. And I did the calculations based on her stitch count in the pattern to see what size I should knit. And with the 19 stitches per inch, or 4 inches rather, even the extra large would have been smaller than I wanted. So I went ahead and I grabbed my top-down sweater recipe book by Ann Budd, and I took that gauge, and based upon her top-down recipe, I did I calculated for a V-neck sweater, and that's why you see this. I haven't picked up for the ribbing yet, but it's going to be a V-neck sweater, and then I just centered her stitch pattern that came with her Malin sweater for the front. And I did it with like about 4 inches of ease, and I'm gonna have nice loose sleeves. I think it fits me very nice in the collar. Another reason I did this, by the way, was that Isabel Kraemer's patterns tend to have very, and I was just wearing one. This is an Isabel, I think it's back to fall, where her neck openings are usually on the large side, and you have to wear a t-shirt under it, otherwise your neck gets cold, or you can knit it with a cowl, or a separate cowl. So this actually sweater, her pattern came with a cowl neck alternative, which is a great alternative, but since I didn't get gauge and I feel like V-necks are more flattering on me, I went with the V-neck, and I'm trying it on now because I did want to see how long it's getting. I absolutely want it to be a little longer than the other two sweaters I knit by her, which is this Back to Fall and the Humulus. But I'm going to stand up and show you. I'm going to have it go about as long as this t-shirt is on me right now. So I got a good, 5 inches to go. But here's the pattern in the front. And this is Knit Picks Wool of the Andes, and I can tell you that it will plump up a lot when I wet it. So the gauge will change. It will get a lot larger, the stitches. I ended up with 19 stitches per 4 inches, but I think I had like 21 before I blocked it. A very important reason, or a good reason, that validates when you swatch, you really need to block your swatches to get the accurate gauge. So this is something that I've been working predominantly on, I would say. For the most part, since I finished the shawl. I want to get a sweater done so that I can have it to wear this winter. And Humulus has been one of my favorite sweaters, and I kind of used that as a size gauge for how big I wanted this to be and how much ease I wanted. And also I had always wished I'd done my Humulus a little longer, and that's why I'm going to take this one to be a little longer, at least t-shirt length on me. And so yeah, I'm really just loving it. I have to say that I was a little confused by Ann Budd's directions in her book. It's the first time I've used it. I've had the book for quite some time. And I actually changed the rate of increases for the neckline to be different than what she had, because I didn't understand how she was getting, I didn't understand the instructions, and I did kind of rip it out once, because at the rate I was going, the V-neck would have gone down to here if I kept going. And so anyway, but it turned out perfect now. And yeah, I'm really can't wait to be able to wear this. Definitely by the next podcast, and I'll probably take it with me on the knitting pipeline retreat. So I am going to tell you something very special about the bag that I am using for this. So here's the project bag. You can see there's a lot of writing on it. I received a gift, and I will insert the video about this bag, which is now so very precious to me. But my husband videotaped me when it came in the mail. It's a gift from all my knitter friends back in New York. I'm starting to cry again. Gosh darn it. Get all choked up, but it's so precious. And then one of my friends who is an exceptional artist, Karen, she's a painter. She painted the scene of the Hudson Valley on the back. God dang it. So oh man, so yeah, that's, I'll insert the clip right here.
What do you got there?
The bag from my knitting friends, and look, they painted the back. This must have been Karen, because she's the artist of the group.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Oh. Knit Pearl Shawl Girl, Knitting Queen and Solange. challenge. You can knit, you can purl, knitting the shawl of your life. Oh, see that girl, watch that seam. She is the knitting queen. Do you get it? It's from the song.
Yeah.
Ruler of the Hudson Valley and now the Mississippi, Susan. Next, meet you in St. Louis, knitting bag in hand, Sandy. Oh, I can't wait. Knitted together, never really apart, Karen. Thanks for all the knitterly inspiration, Kelly. A treasure. All right, next whip. Where's my whips? Okay. Oh, the Red Robin socks. So I'm really digging this pattern too. And now that my my Twinkling trees socks are done, I started knitting on these again. If it weren't for the fact that I was working on a Scrappy blanket, they'd probably be done by now, but they're not, because I am working on that a lot, and I'll show you that in a minute too. But here's the lovely bag they're in. I got this in a swap from the Knitting by the Sea podcast, today's swap, which I had a great partner. She gave me this beautiful bag, which she made herself, and I absolutely love it. I wish I could sew. I would love to learn how to sew. Anyway, I finished one sock. I have not cast on the second one yet, but here is my Red Robin sock by Helen Stewart. This is knit in the Wool Barn yarn that actually she designed the pattern with. I'm really, really enjoying it. It's a very potato chippy. You will memorize the pattern very quickly. And I think the colors of the yarn are just beautiful. And it's just a really nice sock. So this is the first one. I think I mentioned it before, that I just kind of, I love Helen's designs, but I just kind of abbreviate her patterns because I'm not a fan of the one, one line of directions for every row. It's just, to me, it's just overwhelming. So I just kind of rewrite it. And that's what I did kind of with this sweater. You can see I kind of wrote down the directions so that I wouldn't have to, because I changed it based on the Am Bud pattern. So yeah. Oh, did I show you this? I got the Kate Davies notebook. I love it. I write my podcasting notes in there. I'm kind of taking her cue, and basically I used to have a separate notebook for podcast notes and for pattern notes, and I think I'll just use this for everything, and it's working out great. So yeah, I've kind of enjoyed doing this with certain patterns because especially when they're heavily graded from many sizes, you just get a lot of stuff in the printed pattern that you don't need. And so I just write down the instructions that I need and in my kind of language, and because I know what I mean when I say things, and take it from there, and it's worked really well. I don't do it with every pattern, just the lengthy ones, the ones that have a lot of instructions to them. So that's this. I will definitely have a lot of the second sock done by the time I podcast again. I can almost guarantee it because I do not suffer from second sock syndrome. So yeah, those are two of my whips. My third whip that I've been knitting on a lot since I last podcast is my Scrappy blanket. And I actually skeined up all of my minis, and I have been incorporating them. So I did an advent calendar. I also had some minis in my stash from way back. But here's what I got so far. Just almost 2 rows done. This is going to be for a twin size bed. And I just really enjoy it when I don't like when I've been knitting on this a while and I need to look at a different color yarn, this is perfect because it just keeps you going. I have some ends to weave in, but for the most part I've been weaving in ends as I go, so this is the wrong side. And you can see that most of the ends have already been woven in, and to me that's just, I can't deal with ends when I'm knitting something. I like it to look neat and pretty. So yeah, most of my knit here, let me show you my, I would say this is about 50% scraps from socks and about 50% minis that I have acquired over the years. So really, really enjoying this, and yeah, you'll probably see some more blocks next time I podcast. So that is it for my whips and my finished objects. I have two things I want to do next. I have had a girl's best friend in my queue forever. I have the yarn skeined up and ready to go, but I think I'm going to put off casting that on for a little while. And I think between now and the next podcast, I'm gonna dedicate myself, as far as shawl knitting goes, to working on my rose gold shawl by Andrea and Mowry, which I am knitting for my sister, which I have knit before. I am knitting it a little different in that I added I-cord edging to it. Here's the I-cord edge. It's a little tight, so you can see it's rippling, but yeah, I really like it. Here's the other I-cord edge. Again, it's a little tight, but I think it'll look good once it's wrapped around her. And this is with Malin Blaze Pecan, and then it picks Hawthorn. So I think you'll see this, some progress on it. It will probably just still be in the brioche section, but before I cast on a new shawl, I think I'm just gonna dedicate a few weeks to working on this. And then I did a sock laundering day, and I noticed that the socks that I've knit for my husband are starting to look a little ragged, so I am going to cast on a pair of socks for Mark next. I usually knit his socks out of Blue Moon medium weight. They last a long time, they're machine washable, and they're durable, and he has big rough feet, so you know, I'll probably cast on something, and maybe I'll just pick out my own stitch pattern for him. I did that once on a pair of his socks, the first pair of socks I knit him. I think I did kind of like a ribby kind of pattern on it that I got from a stitch dictionary. So it was just really easy, you know. If you like fairly simple sock designs and you don't want to pay for a pattern, invest in a little stitch dictionary, or even better yet, Sensational Knitted Socks by Charlene Church. It just kind of basically gives you recipes for socks of any gauge, of any size, and gives you a lot of different stitch patterns to choose from. So you can make up your own simple sock design. You don't need to really buy a pattern. And if you have a stitch dictionary, just find the number of stitches that you kind of need to cast on for the size needle you like, and pick out a stitch pattern that's divisible by that number of stitches. And if it is slightly off, you can kind of add a stitch sometimes, or take away some stitches and maybe put a couple of purl stitches at each end, or as like a design feature to go down the sock. You know, there's lots of ways to add a stitch or two, or just subtract a stitch or two if you are in love with a stitch pattern that isn't perfectly divisible by the number of stitches you need. So just, you know, a little empowerment. You don't always have to buy a sock pattern to knit a great sock. Yeah, so with that being said, I'm going to go on to a little talk, and I'm going to start by showing you what I am giving away for this episode from my yarn prize stash. And it's this one skein of indie dyed yarn. It is Crystalskye's hand-dyed yarn. It's the dyer's name is Dani Hurley, and it is called I Feel the Earth Move. It's a fingering weight, 75% superwash merino, 25% nylon, so an excellent sock yarn. Here is the back, and here is the front. And it's tans and browns, very earthy colors. And please leave a comment in the YouTube channel with your Ravelry name. Any comment is fine. I don't think we need to answer any specific questions, but just tell me something interesting, or just a comment about the podcast is fine, and I will choose a winner the next time I podcast. So it could be 2 weeks, it could be 3 weeks, who knows. I also am selling a lot of stash, and starting in the beginning of this year, I have been showing some stash that I want to get rid of and deeply discounting it. Some I am even giving away. So without further ado, I will show you what I am selling this time. I have these 4 skeins of Lorna's laces. I can take it out of the bag. They're already caked. The base is Honor, which is 70% baby alpaca and 30% silk. This color is called Eclipse. It's super soft. It is a purples and grays and like a gray blue, and even some green hues to it. When I acquired it, it was a de-stash from someone that did smoke, but I actually put it in my de-stash deeply discounted because of that. And I am not a smoker, but I can tell you, and I am being very honest, I do not smell any stinky cigarette smells in this. So I bought it from someone local whose mother just basically passed away, and she was selling her mother's stash, and I bought it, and even when I bought it, I felt it didn't smell, and she said it was kept, you know, in bags, in bins, and away from anything. And I have to say, I'm just being full disclosure here. So anyway, you know what? I forget what I said I was going to sell it for. Let me just check what I put. I think I was originally selling them for $10 a piece. I think I paid like $12 a piece for them. I forget. I was originally selling them for $40 for all 4 skeins, and I was including shipping in those. But what I'll do is I'll sell them for $25 plus shipping. So 4 skeins. This is a really good deal. I have kept them with lavender sachets, and this you could make. There's 4 skeins. How many yards is that? 1,100 yards. It's a DK weight yarn. So if you're interested in this, $25 plus shipping, and it's yours. And I'm going to have to make a note of that before I forget. 25 plus, oops, plus shipping. Yeah, I'll forget if I don't. So that is a huge discount, a lot less, and it's probably about half of what I paid for it. So, Lorna's Laces Honor. That's one thing I'm selling. Another thing I'm selling, and I'll show you both because it's the same dyer. This is, I don't know if you remember Gourmet Stash. She is no longer dyeing, but I ordered 2 skeins of her sturdy sock yarn. These are Christmas colors. This is Osmog, the Stupendous Stout Sock, which is 75% superwash Coriadale and 25% nylon. And this, I think, oh, the tag came off. I think it's called Broken Ornaments. I know I put the name in my stash. It's Stout Sock, and it's called Broken Ornaments. And I am asking for each of these. I paid $24 plus shipping. I'm asking for $15 plus shipping for each skein. You can take them both. It will be less than shipping, or one or the other. But that's almost $10 off. So Gourmet Stash, and these are really gorgeous colors. All right. Next, I have another sock yarn. This is by Mode Knit Yarns. Any Moda set has a yarn company. And this is like a really nice earthy color as well. And it is 60% superwash merino, 30% bamboo, and 10% nylon. So bamboo tends to be very, very drapey. So even though this would be excellent for a pair of socks, and they're both 50 grams, by the way, the colorway is called Tanzanite. This would also make a very lovely drapey shawl. I knit shawls in bamboo before, bamboo blends, bamboo wool blends to be specific, and they tend to hold their shape well. They tend to last longer. They show off lace work beautifully, and they're very drapey and soft. So again, highly recommend. I am selling them both together, $20 for both, plus shipping. And again, I paid $15 each for these plus shipping, so you'll be getting a really good deal. $20 for both. Now, I have some stuff left over from previous episodes that are still for sale. Supported spindle for $10. I don't know anything about it because I don't have a tag for it, but it's got like a glass bottom here. And you know what, I'll weigh it and find out how much it weighs. But if you're interested, this is only $10 plus shipping, and I have a box that it can be safely shipped in so it won't get damaged or poke out. So that is still for sale. I have 2 skeins of this swizzle sock yarn. I'm selling for $3 a skein plus shipping. So I have 2 of them, and each one is enough for a pair of socks because they are 100 gram skeins. And you can see this is what it would look like. Oh no, you can't see because, yeah, there. It's got some really nice pops of color. So 2 of these are still available, $3 each. It's practically nothing. And I am giving away 2 skeins of Knit Picks Big O in Forest Heather. It's a bulky weight yarn. So if you're interested in any of this, please PM me on Ravelry, and I will stash them to you. Thank you for sticking around for this. I really appreciate it. And again, don't forget there's also going to be a giveaway every episode until all my donated yarn is gone. So, all right. Now, the meetup. Oh, so I'm new to the area. I hadn't met anyone yet, and people reached out to me on Ravelry. I did join the group, but it was really nice to hear from people reaching out to me and inviting me. I think one person found a couple of people on Instagram and noticed that I was now living in St. Louis and said, oh, here's the yarn stores, here's a meetup, it's a fantastic meetup, and just lots of welcoming things, and I'm so appreciative of all of that. And I set out to the meetup, and I have to say, I was crying in the car, because on one hand, I was very excited to meet new knitters and make new friends and be amongst my fellow knitters. But it also made me very nostalgic for my friends that are still in New York, and I miss them so much. It's really hard. I was really excited about the move. Once we made up our mind, there were a lot of good reasons for me to leave where I was, but on the other hand, and I'm not afraid to change, you know, like a lot of people are. And there's a lot of great things in St. Louis, about St. Louis, that I'm really excited to explore and get to know. But one of the most difficult things is friends, missing your friends, like-minded people. And being that it's winter, I think we don't get out as much, so you don't meet as many new people. But damn, I miss my friends so much. And yeah, it's kind of making me nostalgic. The other thing is I miss the river. I'm very attached to the Hudson River. I used to go there all the time. I miss the mountains, the beauty of the Hudson Valley. And I'm sure once the weather changes and gets better, I'll find beautiful places to go here in Missouri. I just, you know, haven't been able to do that yet. Well, anyway, that being said, I think I'm gonna wrap it up. I thank you all again for joining me, and I will talk to you in a few weeks. Bye-bye.